What up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Friday night. We're back here for another episode of the Friday Night Movie Club, and I'm joined here once again by my good buddy Rick Aragon. How you doing there, Rick?
I'm doing good. Ready to hit some blaxploitation.
Yep. Rob is going to be joining us a little bit later on here. He'll be joining us. He'll basically be pulling a Rick for this show here. So he'll be joining us late as usual. So I mean, he's in the chat right now, but he won't be joining us on screen until he's actually back from wherever he's from. So until then, we're going to be kicking things off here with a little bit of a movie discussion because, as you can tell, we're going to be watching the film Cleopatra Jones later tonight. The first 30-40 minutes of this show is going to be on YouTube. Then we'll jump over to Rumble and we'll jump over to X at the moment. So we'll be here at the quarter tonight. Is he working now? Was he gonna be? Were you supposed to be on here like later on, or just gonna be working like the entire night? Because either way, we can roll this one without you. I mean, we can exploit some more blaxploitation for our good buddy Rick here.
Well, I mean, I know a little bit about blaxploitation. I've seen Coffee, I've seen Blackula and Scream, Blackula, Scream. So I'm down with the hood. I'm down with the hood.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, so he probably won't be here till like late. He'll be here much later on in the show. So no big problem there. But so there's just a lot of things going on right now. Obviously the big story is the whole Vince McMahon stuff. I think we're gonna touch on that tomorrow for the Royal Rumble stream where we can actually go more in depth into that. But yes, Vince McMahon officially did step down earlier today, and it was done because apparently some of the sponsors for WWE threatened to pull out if Vince McMahon wasn't removed, which Slim Jim apparently signed like a major deal with them a few months ago, and now they're saying that they might pull out and a couple of others. So in order to protect WWE's corporate sponsorship money, Vince McMahon stepped down, but I'm pretty sure this whole thing is far from over, so we'll see where that goes, but we'll talk about that more on tomorrow night's show. I want to focus on movie news because there's a few things about movies that we wanted to talk about over the course of really just the course of the last couple of days, things that have happened. We didn't get a chance to really talk too much about the Oscars on the Barroom podcast because I wanted to focus more on some of the things we talked about earlier this week. But Oscars has been a big buzz this week. I feel like we're gonna have to do another Oscar stream, even though I really don't want to. But it feels like we're probably gonna be stuck for like another 3.5 hours watching the Academy Awards or whatnot. But
just let me know so that I could go and get some more booze so I could sit through it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to get like a 6-pack of beer myself just to make it through that show. So it should be fun for all of us. And by fun, I mean not fun at all. So the Academy Award nominations came out this week. And the usual suspects. I think the awards that everyone was expecting. There's really no big surprise there. However, there was a few quote unquote snubs that people have been literally whining about all week. Even as far as Hillary Clinton herself has gotten into the whole snub for the Academy Award. So,
She should know
uh,
about being a loser.
two time loser. Yeah, she's in the elite category with like her and Stacey Abrams. So there you go.
No, Stacey Abrams won. We know that.
Yeah, she won both times, and she just
Yes.
didn't get awarded a governor both
Mhm.
times. So yeah, here we have the nominations for leading actor. Bradley Cooper got his nomination, so at least he'll be nominated again. He ain't winning, but at least he got nominated. Who else do we got here? We have what's it? Coleman Domingo from Rustin.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, and Jeffrey Wright all got nominated for their awards. For me, it feels like Paul Giamatti's probably the favorite here, but obviously I would just lean towards everything on Oppenheimer. I feel like Jeffrey Wright only got the nomination because Obama put his film over like right before the award season started. But what do you think about the male nominations here?
Well, I feel bad for Bradley Cooper because he's going to lose again. And so he's going to what? I think he's like on his eighth or ninth nomination overall, not just
Mm-hmm.
for acting, but for producing, writing, and he's going to lose again. So he's got to practice a smile. The big, it's not a surprise, but for the longest time, Killian Murphy was almost presumed to be the winner. But Paul Giamatti has really been making a lot of inroads. He's won a couple of major prizes, given great speeches, and as I point out many times on the X Twitter, he's beloved. He's a veteran. He's been around for a long time, and I don't think he's building an overdue narrative so much as he's in a very crowd pleasing film. I can't say popular compared to Oppenheimer,
Mm-hmm.
but right now, I think people are slowly starting to lean Giamatti to win over Murphy, which would be kind of an upset. I think it depends on where SAG goes. If SAG goes for Giamatti, it's pretty much over. If SAG goes for Murphy, it, yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much over either way. So we'll have to wait to see who SAG chooses. Domingo is like he's not going to win because he's in one film. I mean, one nomination for a film you can find on Netflix. So that's a surprise. A lot of people, though, have been pointing out he's the second openly gay actor to be nominated and for playing an openly gay role. I've not seen the movie, so I can't say how good or bad it is. But to me, I don't think it's relevant what the actor's sexuality is. Let's just see what the performance is like. But right now, I think it's Giamatti who's has the. I think he's gonna win.
Yeah, it seems like it's leaning that way. Notice that Leonardo DiCaprio was not nominated, and like I said, there's a couple of other actors got over him. I wonder why these actors got over him. Maybe it's because over the last 10 years we've been making such a big deal about diversity and inclusion, especially when it comes to the Oscars. That this time around, Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio got the short end of the stick because he has the wrong complexion. Maybe that had something to do with it.
It's hard for me to say. It is a bit of a surprise, but at least Rob is naming names. He is saying who should not have been in there.
Yeah.
Unlike other people who have just been bemoaning certain people who've not been nominated, they never say whom would you pull out.
Yep. Oh man, I'm gonna have to get to that one here in a second.
Mhm.
But we have supporting actor Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, and Mark Ruffalo. Some of these nominations, let's be very, very clear here. Everyone outside of the two Roberts, it's laughable that they were even nominated for the films that they were in. Just being completely straight forward with you there. De Niro and Downey are the only two who are worthy of being in this category at all, and I feel like everyone's going to lean towards Downey, which I'm not entirely upset with. I do think he put out a better performance. I do think Robert De Niro was the best part of Killers of the Flower Moon, however, but I just don't think that Downey hasn't beat as far as this one goes. What do you think here?
I think it's Downey's. I think he's been pretty much cleaning up. Some people have been trying to tell me that, oh, Gosling's won some awards too. Yeah, well, yeah, it's still not translating. And I haven't seen American Fiction, so I can't say about Sterling K. Brown. De Niro really was one of the best performances in Killers of the Flower Moon. He's just really the embodiment of evil. I was not as impressed with Poor Things as a lot of people were, including Rob. I thought it was a little too artificial, openly artificial. Like
Hmm.
everyone could tell that they were acting.
I just
But
thought it was trash,
no, I think it just seems a little too mechanical.
pretentious.
Well, a little pretentious and not as funny as people kept telling me it was. But Gosling, good grief. You know what? I'm going to say it. I would have preferred that Gosling be dumped and Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers be nominated in his place. I think it was a better supporting performance.
Well, even in the movie we're talking about here, Poor Things, it's like I don't know how anyone thought that Mark Ruffalo's performance was worthy of an Academy Award in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. It's like, fine, if you want to do female empowerment and give Emma Stone a nomination, why, whatever, like, why not? But Mark Ruffalo, like, he was utterly garbage in that film.
I think it was because he was so overtly camp and over the top. That's my impression. I was not particularly impressed with his performance. I thought it was again too overt is in its way, but I really don't understand the love that Gosling is getting for Barbie. I think it's
Well,
been
no,
pretty.
it's not just Gosling because if we're talking about Barbie as a whole. He is the best part of that film. But with that said, Barbie is a garbage movie. And the only reason why this film is getting any award nominations is because literally a bunch of 30 to 40-year-old white feminist women adopted a children's toy and made it a platform for their feminist garbage. If we didn't have that America Ferrera meltdown speech halfway during that film, there's no way this film in any way, shape, or form gets nominated for an Academy Award. Are you kidding me? This
Well,
fucking movie?
yeah, well, I don't know. I'm still waiting for the six disc criterion because it's obviously one of the great films of our time. But I don't know. We'll talk about this later. I think the Barbie fans are doing more damage by their whining than anything else.
Because they're acting like their movie is actually like entitled to something when it's garbage. Like that's the
Yeah,
problem.
but look, I have no problem with with its production, with its costumes. I think it did capture that kind of fantasy Barbie Dreamhouse type world, but it's not a good movie. It's not well structured. You have elements that are unimportant. America Ferrera's speech rant, which is 3 minutes long, was really bad. So I don't get why people really think that this is some sort of landmark and turning point in film. It's not. It's supposed to be about a doll. But hey, who are we to say that anything else?
Mm-hmm. They said it got turned into what 40-year-old women felt oppressed by Barbie, and they flipped it on its head. Now everyone acts like it's an Academy Award worthy film, when it's absolutely not. Best performance from a female here, we got Annette Bening, we got Lily Gladstone, Sarah Huller, Carrie Mulligan, and Emma Stone. I'm gonna be completely straight honest with you here. I wasn't impressed with any of these performances the way that the Academy was, so I really don't have any like horse in this race like whatsoever when it comes to it. I think it's pretty clear they're going to give it to Emma Stone because of the subject matter of her film. Maybe there's a slight chance because of diversity and inclusion they'll give it to Lily Gladstone, but that's pretty much what I'm thinking here. This whole category is kind of useless to me. What about you?
All right, I'm going to say that Lily Gladstone should be the winner. I think she has a slight edge over Emma Stone. I think it's going to be between both of them. I think Benning should just be happy to be there. Hooler should be happy to be there. And Mulligan is kind of a mild surprise, given that a lot of people are saying that, oh, it's not really her story. It's Leonard Bernstein's story, not Felicia's. But for me, it's going to be between Gladstone and Stone. I'm giving the slight edge to Lily Gladstone, but I disagree with you. I think she more than deserves the win, regardless of her background, whether she's indigenous or not. I think it was a very solid, good performance of someone who is enduring a lot from her duplicitous, backstabbing husband out of greed. Emma Stone. Here's the thing about Emma Stone's performance in Poor Things. I thought it was like Eddie Redmayne in was it Theory of Everything. Technically good, but you could see the performance. Is like I wasn't thinking this is Bella Baxter. I was thinking this is Emma Stone doing this kind of robotic mannerisms to show us, oh, here I am acting. And it's nothing against Emma Stone. I've seen her in interviews. She seems very likable, but for me, I could see the performance. With Lily Gladstone, I saw the character. I hope I'm communicating what I'm trying to say. Is that I could see the acting with Stone. I could not see the acting with Gladstone. No, Robert. No, we can't say that for sure. Again, I think it's going to go down to whomever SAG picks. If they go for Gladstone, it's pretty much sealed for her. If they go for Stone,
Well, I mean, you
it's
said
pretty
that
much sealed
last
for
year.
her.
Didn't they go for what's her face? Jamie Lee Curtis last year, in a
Well,
dumbfounding decision.
no, they pick did SAG pick Jamie Lee Curtis?
No, that's what I mean. They didn't like. They didn't go to her last year, but she ended up winning the Oscar anyway.
Yeah. Well, I still argue that Jamie Lee Curtis win was more a de facto lifetime achievement award than it was a genuine performance. I don't remember.
Or it could just be a farce.
Well, that too, but I don't. I think people look at it now and think that was probably a poor choice. I don't see many people a year later arguing that, oh yes, she deserved to win.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised to find anyone who thinks that Jamie Lee Curtis deserved to win over, was it Stephanie Shu, or over, I can't remember, from Banshees of Inisherin. I
Yeah.
think they should have won. One of them should have won.
And then we have best supporting role here. Got Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks from The Color Purple. You know that's a straight up diversity and inclusion mention there. There's nothing in that movie that's Oscar worthy. America Ferrera, same thing there, the exact same thing. Jodie Foster and what's her name, Divine Joy Rudolph. Now, look, if you're asking me, I would say that Emily Blunt has this running away, especially giving her competition here. But I guess you would be the one person to sim for the holdovers.
I'm not the one person.
Mm-hmm.
Divine Joy Randolph has been pretty much cleaning up everywhere, and it is a very good performance because she goes from comedy to drama. Carrie Condon, thank you, from Banshees of Inisherin. Um, she goes from comedy to drama so well. You like this character. Blunt, I think she would probably be my number two choice. Right now, it's like, why is Ferreira? Notice that even online, all the bar or no, with all the Barbie stands, it's America Ferrera's nomination that is really angering people. They're saying, why? Why is she nominated? What? Okay, let me ask the people who defend the America Ferrera nomination. I want you to answer this question seriously. Outside of her 3 minute rant, or monologue, whatever, what else in her performance do you think was something that stood out so much that it deserved an Oscar nomination? That's it. It's like when they nominated Angela Bassett for her "Have I Not Given Everything?" They nominated her for an Oscar clip. Same thing with Ferrera. They nominated her for that 3 minute rant or that 3 minute monologue. What other than her? What outside of that? And odds are that's going to be her Oscar clip. That's going to be her. There's going to be her Oscar clip if they show it. What other than that do people remember from her performance? People remember elements from Randolph. They remember things from Blunt. They even remember things from Daniel Brooks. As much as you might dislike her performance, what else do they remember from Barbie and
What
from
else do they
America?
remember from? There's something in that film that was memorable. Did I miss something watching that movie?
Yeah, I remember a lot of singing and dancing.
No, okay. Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I will say this: when Daniel Brooks loses, she will she'll do the same thing that Oprah Winfrey did. Both of them were nominated for the same role and both of them lost. It's the mirror opposite of West Side Story, where was it Ariana DeVos and Rita Moreno both won for their performances in the same role. Here, we're going to have two actresses who are going to lose because right now Randolph is going to win. Randolph is going to win. I mean, Blunt, at least she's finally nominated. She should have been nominated for other things, but she's going to lose. But I
And
mean,
then obviously we have directing here, and we have
oof.
Scorsese, Nolan, we have Justine Trio, we have just Jonathan Glazer and Yorgo,
Yorgos
whatever.
Lanthimos.
Yeah, that
Lanthimos.
jabroni. For me, I would say this is a runaway for Christopher Nolan because, like I said, he literally got the best performances out of all of his cast that he worked here. I think that is a big signal that he deserves the win. Who knows what direction the Academy is going to go here, but I would say that this is Christopher Nolan's to lose. What about you?
Yeah, it's strange to think that someone probably old enough to be Scorsese's son, maybe not quite grandson, is quote overdue. Yeah, Nolan's going to win, and it's a shame because look, I think people love Martin Scorsese. He won for The Departed probably because they felt, oh, we need to give him something now.
Hmm.
But yeah, all the others, I have not seen Anatomy of a Fall. Excuse me, I have not seen Anatomy of a Fall, so I can't comment on how good or bad it is. But it's interesting for all the bemoaning that people have done for Greta Gerwig that she was not nominated for Barbie. They don't either notice or don't care that there is a woman nominated here in director. So it's really not about getting women nominated or giving women the opportunity. I think it's their argument is the wrong woman got nominated. Somehow, Greta Gerwig is, I guess, her generation's what? George Cukor, Alfred Hitchcock.
She's her generation's white chick who slept on the casting couch and got a job. That's pretty much what her credentials fall down to when it comes
Th-
to it.
all right, people. That was Jacob. That was not me who said that.
Yeah, I said
Okay.
it.
All right. So I'm just pointing that out. I have no idea. I mean, she's sleeping with Noah Baumbach, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, career wise. But it's not a snub. Again, to all the people
It's
who
not a
complain,
snub when you don't actually deserve the nomination to begin with. You know,
for
let's go
for all
ahead.
the people who are complaining, are you saying that you want to dump the only woman?
Put it to you this way: Greta Gerwig got snubbed for best director the same way I got snubbed for best director. That's how her relevancy of this whole situation goes. But well, two more quick things here. One, the question here is: I'm Just Ken going to win an Oscar for best song? Yes or no?
No, no. It's gonna go to what was I made for, and it's kind of a shame because Dance the Night, the opening song, the one that they do at the party,
Hmm.
that's actually the best song out of the three songs that I remember from Barbie. I'm Just Ken is a stupid song.
It's going to be hilarious if I'm Just Ken does win, and then the meltdown on social media is going to be glorious because there's going to be so many white feminist women who are going to be so pissed off that that song won because it wasn't about Ken, it was about Barbie. It's like that's the only thing I'm looking forward to as
you
far as
you
that
know
goes.
what would be great? What for me would be great is if that flaming Cheeto song wins. I mean, first, it would be great to see Diane Warren finally win a competitive Oscar. But secondly, to see both Barbie songs denied, that for me would be the best part. I probably would be cheering just A for Diane Warren to finally win, and B because it would probably mean that Barbie's going 0 for 8.
Yep, and great and Nolan made himself producer, so who went for best picture too. And that's the last one here. Best picture, they got. I hate that they widen the best picture thing. Like, just have five people. Like, if you get left out, like, go cry yourself away. American Fiction, Anatomy of the Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest. Obviously, Oppenheimer was my number one film of the year, so I would go with that one personally. I feel like the Academy is probably going to go with Poor Things. That's just my, I guess at this point. But what do you think?
I think you're not taking into account the preferential balloting. I I mean, so many people would have to pick Poor Things in their first or second slots for it to really have a chance. Now, I really see it as Oppenheimer and The Holdovers as its main competition. I don't know if they're going to quote coda their way in, where for the longest time, a few years back, many people thought that The Power of the Dog was going to win the boring Western. Uh, they thought it was going to win everything. But then Coda started chipping away, and it became very popular. People started watching it and loving it. I'm getting the same sense from the Holdovers. I put Holdovers as my number one film of the year, and I really think it crowd pleaser. It's a upbeat, so I think Oppenheimer's ultimately going to win, but The Holdovers is its strongest competition right now, which is kind of a shame because Killers of the Flower Moon I think is a pretty good film. I haven't seen Anatomy of Fall, American Fiction. I'm going to see The Zone of Interest tomorrow. I don't know why Barbie's in there, other than oh, it's very popular and people love it, and it's about feminism. Good for them. But honestly, are we going to watch Barbie 5 years from now? Are people still going to be
No,
gravitating to it?
no one. All, people are only pretending like it was a good movie because of
We'll we'll,
this
we'll
feminist messaging.
we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll find out. And if in 5 years we still watch Barbie and we still love it, if you get like little girls to quote America Ferrera's rant word for word, because I keep getting told that people were applauding at this, and I'm thinking, why?
Yeah, but
The
those people are like in their 40s and single. Like those are the only people who are applauding that.
I will say that at the Barbie screening that I went to, or I think it was opening weekend, I did see a woman and a child, whom I presume was her daughter, walk out. And you'd think that because I think there might have been a lot of parents or mothers who thought, "Oh, Barbie, it's going to be about fun and frivolity and maybe a little message about loving yourself and the empowerment." I don't think anyone really expected maybe. I guess I don't know. I would have to see how many single women went to see Barbie. I'm not a single woman. I'm not in that demographic. So I have no idea. But for me, Barbie's not a good film for a variety of factors. And America Ferrera's nomination, it's a joke. I honestly can't understand why she was nominated. But I can say that there's been a lot of pushback with Barbie. If you notice, I don't know if you've seen all this, Jacob. A lot of the a lot of the pushback for Barbie, people are now starting to become very angry and irritated with it, and with the people complaining about, oh, Gerwig wasn't nominated, Robbie wasn't nominated. They're creating needless antagonism, and if I were an Academy member, I would vote against it just out of spite. Here's the thing about Barbie's 8 Oscar nominations: apart from original song, all of the other categories are shaky at best. They might actually award it adapted screenplay, although it's going to face a strong opposition from Oppenheimer and Poor Things. But that might be just a way of rewarding Gerwig and Bomback. Uh, but other than that, things that were thought of as being in the bag for them, like production design and costume design, Poor Things is giving it a run for its money. I can see a scenario where it only wins song, and that's it. And that's Billie Eilish. And for somebody pointed out online that Billie Eilish will now have 2 Oscars uh, versus Bradley Cooper and Glenn Close, who have no Oscars. So someone old enough to be Glenn Close's granddaughter will be winning Oscars before she does. So I don't know what that says.
Yeah, it is what it is. But like I said, I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. What's the Oscars in March? So we still got another month or something like that before the show.
Yes, I don't think they've actually started voting yet. I think the nominations they just announced the nominations. They have not, as far as I know, they've not officially started voting for the Academy Awards. I gotta know because I don't have any alcohol at the house. I don't drink. Surprisingly enough, I don't drink. Last year, I just took whatever I had in the fridge from years past and just chugged that. So I'm gonna have to go and actually buy some beer, which is kind of strange for me because again, I think of maybe just like uh, maybe 3 times in the whole year. So just let me know when, so I could be starting to get boozed up. And if
Like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
I'll,
That's
I'll,
6 weeks away, so it's
6 weeks,
sometime in March.
okay. Let me tell you this: when if I'm just Ken wins, I'm going to be like those guys who watch football games and their teams lose. I'm going to go up to
Hmm.
the TV and start just smashing it.
So you're gonna be like a Cowboys fan finally.
Yes, yes. And by the way, I don't know if I told you, but I did have a coworker who was looking at the Super Bowls, and she said, "You know, I they have never gone to the Super Bowl in my entire lifetime." And so it's like, "Oh my gosh, how old am I? How old are you?"
Well, one more thing before I guess we started our movie here. There was a movie that I saw that came out this week, but it just wasn't really that big enough to dedicate an entire show to it. It was a film called Miller's Girl, and it starred the newfound sex kitten, apparently, Jenna Ortega, who I guess after the whole Wednesday and Scream fame, they think that, oh, okay, she's a big enough star that she can get like her own movie now, and we'll release it in theaters, and everyone's gonna go watch it. And to point this out, I was the only person in the theater. They gave this film, like the theater that I went to, for whatever reason, they gave this like a big screen. Like there was like a 300 seat like theater that I was in, and I was literally one of two people in the entire theater, and the second person didn't show up till like 20 minutes after the movie had already started. So not exactly a good sign here for this film, but this is a very odd movie because I guess this was a film that was actually filmed maybe like a couple of years ago, a year or two ago, and Seth Rogen's production company bought the rights to it so they can release it. So Seth Rogen's fingerprints are all over this film. This comes from a director called Jade Haley Bartlett, who has literally never directed or written anything in her life outside of this film, yet she is the director and the writer and the producer for this movie. It's a story that's set, I believe, in Tennessee. It has Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman. They're supposed to be in high school. An emphasis that this is a high school story. She's supposed to be some super smart like literature nerd or something like that, and he's like a English lit teacher, and he's wrote a book or whatnot. So some weird thing happens where it's like she falls in love. Yeah, we're talking about that movie, where she falls in love with him, and then he kind of has feelings for her because they're attracted to each other's intellect or some nonsense like that. But then it gets too close, so he rejects her, so she decides that he's going to ruin his life. And it's weird because she starts monologuing towards the end like somehow she's the good guy in this whole scenario. And then like literally this whole film is about like a bunch of teenage girls trying to seduce like their teachers, and that's what the film is. Keep in mind, this is only like a 90-minute movie. It's not even that long of a film, but it felt like it lasted like forever. And the one thing that I just find very, very odd here is that Hollywood is clearly trying to turn Jenna Ortega into some like kind of like Sydney Sweeney level sex kitten type actress. Like she's supposed to be like the new hot thing. And I guess the appeal of her is that she looks 15, but she's legal. And that's what makes her. So she's attracted to very, very creepy dudes to begin with. That borderline, because I mean she's only like 20 herself, and that was the thing that I was thinking about while I was watching this film. It's like I know like at the time that they shot this movie, she had to have been like no older than like 18, 20 years old. And how old is like Martin Freeman? Isn't he like in his 50s now?
I think he's in his 50s. Yes.
Yeah, so it was just a very, very odd choice of style for this film. There's a little bit to it that you think that, oh, okay, well this is like a character study of like two flawed people, so maybe it has something here that's like gravitating, but it's like it didn't really come off on screen the way that was supposed to be. And so there's not really any kind of like characters kind of lambasted to. It's basically Martin Freeman and his wife. He's unhappy with his marriage because she's a drunk who works all the time, and he wants something more. And then Jenna Ortega's basically, as the movie goes on, she's just like a narcissistic psychopath, and that's kind of like her thing in the film. And then there's like this her best friend in the movie. She's like this really super slutty person who is basically like a giant whore for the entire film until the point where she actually does get close enough to have sex with someone, and then she just goes into like immediate depression. It's like nothing. The way that this whole thing unpacked itself made no sense whatsoever. This is what happens when you have, like I said, unqualified people try to do too much with a movie. When someone who's literally never written or directed anything in their entire life does their first movie, and then everything just falls apart because it's completely unhinged, is probably the best way that I could think of it. But no, this was one of the whole I guess markup for this movie is like, oh, this is a movie from Hollywood's blacklist of unproduced screenplays, and I think to myself, yeah, there's probably a reason why it's on the blacklist. It's probably a reason why no one wanted to make this movie. I don't know how anyone could have looked at the film and thought to themselves, oh, this is garbage, because it is.
Well, I had not heard of this film, and when I was at the theater waiting for a friend, we didn't go to the movies, but we just walked around. I saw the poster for it, and it did look like, I thought it was something closer to, like, I ought to say maybe an Educating Rita, My Fair Lady type situation, where she was the young girl, he was the more educated, sophisticated person, and he was going to be like a mentor to her to elevate her into being a lady. I did not think that it was going to be some sort of, you know, fatal
The
attraction, basic instinct type
the
thing here.
film, just real quick, the film feels very much like a 40-year-old woman's like weird sexual fan fiction. I think I even made that point like in my review, that this film's like, some woman trying to like reclaim that fantasy that she had when she was attracted to like her high school teacher like 30 years ago. That's what it felt like the entire time watching this film.
All I can think of is young girl, get out of my life.
Mhm.
I'll say that I wonder though. You said this was set in Tennessee or Kentucky?
Oh, that's the other thing. So it's set in Tennessee, but everyone in this movie has like a very very bad southern accent. I mean, here's the thing, if this film was set in like Louisiana, you might be able to get away with it, but it's set in Tennessee, and for whatever reason everyone in this film is like trying to do like this bayou like southern hick type style accent, which is like that's not what people from Tennessee sound like at all.
You're trying to sound like Benoit Blanc. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they're trying to sound like Foghorn Leghorn,
Leghorn.
and they're in like East Tennessee. Like that's not how East Tennessee people speak. So it's like,
Well, look, when you hire Martin Freeman, when you hire, what is it, young Frodo, you're the worst Watson, and the worst Sherlock Holmes adaptation. It's going to be difficult for the British guy to try to sound like he's from Tennessee. I know that British actors talk about how they adopt the Southern accents, but when they try to sound American, but why not hire someone who's actually American or Southern? Why did they specifically hire Martin Freeman, who is not Southern in any way, shape, or form, to play this part? And I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what a Tennessee accent would sound like, but I imagine it's something closer to what I'm trying to do right now. Trying to get the vapors. I don't know what a southern accent would sound. I mean, I don't know how they would try for a southern accent, but really, people people need to have dialogue coaches if that's the issue. I might see it. I had not heard, like I said, I had not heard of this film at all. So
and
maybe,
neither has anyone else.
maybe, and you're right, it's only an hour and 33 minutes, so maybe I'll catch a glimpse of it. but
Yeah, like I said, it's just,
but
yeah.
there's
There could,
nothing, yeah, there's nothing new in this kind of story. Isn't May December pretty much the same thing?
yeah, pretty much.
like what is it with all of these movies and things where it's like the teachers seduce? I mean, we have a lot of those cases right now. Why do we have all these movies where it's,
Hollywood suddenly trying to, I guess, entice pedophilia, maybe.
well, I don't know about that, but think about it. It's curious that in this film, it's a male teacher and a female student. In the majority of the cases that you see online, it's the female teacher, a young nubile teacher who is targeting young boys, and they're the ones who are involved in all of this, you know, naughtiness. So why does she look like she's like on drugs at this point? She looks like she's high.
I
Is
mean,
that part of the plot?
no. Well, I mean, it might just be more the actress than any of the plot. So let's just put it that way.
And she gave up Scream for this. Is that my understanding?
No, no, no. She left Scream. Well, because her bestie, the other Hispanic chick, got fired because she said something about the Jews, and then she went and supported her by leaving her post altogether. So that's pretty much what we have here.
Hey, when you're fighting to when you're fighting for the rights of people to behead babies and rape women, there's a cost. You
Hmm.
have to pay. You have to
And
pay an
remember,
artistic cost.
if you're against that, you're supporting genocide.
Hmm. Right, right, right,
Yep.
right.
So that's that film review. I was another movie I watched too. It's called Johnny Keep Walking. It's a Chinese film. It's kind of like a goofy office comedy that kind of shifts course to like office corruption and whatnot. I mean, like I said, it's a Chinese movie, so I don't expect anyone to watch it. It's okay. I give it like a solid 3 out of 5. There's nothing really to like write home about. So
Was this in theaters?
yeah, it's currently in theaters. Apparently, this is like the biggest film in China right now. And that's not saying much because, like I said, it's only been like 1 month into the year. So, but this is what everyone over in that side of the world is watching at the moment.
Well, I got excited when I found out a TV movie called Women in Chains was on YouTube. So it's like one of those women in prison movies, and I'm intrigued.
Yeah, like I said, that's all we had. So fortunately we did not focus the emphasis of this night on those two movies, or else we would have had a very, very short night because there wasn't much to talk about as far as those two films go. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna get ready to watch Cleopatra Jones. So for all you guys joining us on YouTube right now, go over to Rumble. I just dropped the link over there for you guys to follow us over on the Rumble page. You can also follow us on the X link as well. Go to Society Movies on X. We can jump over there and watch a movie as well. So, yeah, Rob says Argyle is gonna suck. I don't know. I have a slight hope that Argyle may be decent. It could suck. Yeah, I'm not gonna go all out on it, but I'm having a slight hope that that film is actually gonna be somewhat
I
decent.
will. I'll decide when I see it. But I'm tired of being told that Henry Cavill is a great actor. He's not. He's a plank of wood. He's a
Well, he
beautiful
is gonna
plank
he
of
is a
wood.
great actor because his
He,
only opposition in this film is John Cena. So
well, what about what is it? Bryce Dallas? Isn't Dallas Howard the star of this? And then you've got Sam
well, she
Rockwell
said it's an ensemble movie, so she's probably like the main protagonist. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of people in
and the
this
cat.
film. So
Don't forget cat. The cat's a big thing, and so
yeah,
Nerdigans
yeah,
and
that
Nerdigans and
CGI cat
Cassie will be flocking to this movie.
and CJ. Don't forget
And
CJ
CJ,
too.
yeah, and CJ.
As a brilliant female writer. Yes, exactly.
Her generation's Agatha Christie. Is that my understanding now?
So maybe her generation's Greta Gerwig. Who knows? But so yeah, go jump over to Rumble. Go jump over to Twitter. We're gonna end the YouTube stream here. We'll be back here in just a second. So all right.